You know, there used to be a time back in the old days of marketing where companies would talk shit to each other. Like I know it was a fascinating time, right? Like you got the Arby's, where's the beef, which shits on McDonald's, and they're using soy products in their burgers. I mean, you had what other situations? There was that recent one with Samsung talking about the Apple Crush. Um, but that was recent. There's other cases of companies throwing shade, but it was always done in good fun. It's like, look, we're competing here, right? We're putting a product on the market, a product that we are confident with, and we're throwing shade at you. And again, this is just how human beings act. Like we're competitive creatures, no matter where we are. But now we've entered this dark age where companies no longer really compete. It's like companies conform. Like a company or people set the standard for a company, and you can try to compete, but then you'll get blacklisted. You'll you'll effectively be the big baddie on the block, and you'll lose advertisers. People will boycott you socially, online. So we've entered this time in entertainment where again no one's compete. There is no drive to make a superior product. Rather, this is games, movies, even comic books. And at the end of the day, the consumer loses. Because it's why games are like 70 fucking dollars. It's why Assassin's Creed is going to be 70, 120, $200 because they're not trying to put out a product anymore, right? They're not usually to offset the cost of again having to make the product be worth so much. It's like you sell T-shirts, you sell merchandise. You have legitimate fans doing the PR for you, but see, those times are gone. Like they don't want the fan. They don't want people that put in the time, money, and effort on their behalf to praise the product. They want the shills on Twitter that defends them. Or I guess X now. It's not Twitter anymore. It's X. But in this case, you have Elon Musk. I don't know if Elon Musk plays games, but look, he pisses off the people that try to piss me off and that goes after the things I like and want to change the things I like because again art is subjective, but apparently offense is objective. If someone's offended, then it should objectively be changed to fit the sensibility of a small fringe minority of people who again they do not interact with the product. They just go online, they go clickety clack, and they demand everybody else appease them. And you have Elon Musk talking about how diversity and inclusion has completely destroyed Assassin's Creed Shadow. And you know, the game even out? The game's not even out, and people see themes and are like, "This is going to be a shit game," because there's this thing human beings do where they already have their opinion about a product depending on how it is marketed. And for Shadow in particular, it was marketed in an odd way, right? Like it has to my knowledge, there's one decent mechanic, and that's the seasonal mechanic, which has been done before, but whatever. But then they're marketing it as, oh, our protagonist, our black samurai protagonist, he likes to suck cock. He's gay. And it's like, wait a minute, what? It's like, do I care if the pixel on my screen likes to suck cock? Well, the answer is no. And again, people are everybody, like people who play games are shitting on the product before it's even out because again, people are more conscious about what they want to buy. And again, people have their opinions before the product's out depending on how it is marketed, how the company is, and the general landscape of games. So Elon Musk shitting on the game isn't anything new. But the response was odd, right? Like I'm gonna be honest, I don't like seeing a grown man piss his eyes. I don't like seeing a grown man cry, but that's exactly what the Ubisoft's was it CEO did. He pissed his eyes, and he's talking about all this woo woo self help bullshit in response to one person shitting on the product. And I'm like, if you really had faith in your product, like, you could be like, well, it's self evident how good this is going. If the product is good and if it, in your heart of hearts that it will sell, you'll be like, hey, look, we're Ubisoft for fuck's sakes. We can stand on our own 2 feet. He can shit on the game all he wants, but I'm confident, even if it's PR speak, right? Stand on your laurels, have some fucking conviction, like you're a fucking CEO, act like it. But no, he pisses his fucking eyes, and we can talk all day about the whole diversity inclusion thing that is effectively ideological nepotism. It's only universally used to take things away from art and to corporatize art and games and movies. Like, it's one of those things where they say the things that sound good, but again, we've seen the effects of this in games and in movies. Well, games in particular with Sweet Baby, and how it is affected, and how they have affected. It's effectively just a small fringe group of 30 people working on major multi-million-dollar products, and it's almost every single product they work on, like, is effectively the same. Because again, if you hire just the same pool of people that has the same ideology and the same take, not very inclusive and diverse, when every single fucking game that's been worked on by, with a few exceptions, but have been worked on by Sweet Baby, has the same themes and, the same ideas and the same, little tidbits that are added in games that, for the consumer, it's like, okay, so what does this add for the story in particular? Right? And the answer is absolutely nothing, but because they've already spent the money, and again, they were sold the lie that, oh, if you have Sweet Baby, I guess it'll raise your ESG score, or, make your product safer. Because that's what ESG is. It's a risk assessment. It's like, oh, and I guess, I forgot their name. Oh, investors. They like to invest on things with low risk. So that's just what it is. But look, the thing with art is you have to take risks. Look, some of the best games came out when companies would take risks. Now, again, some of the worst games came out too. Some of the most fucked up games came out. But, like Manhunt. But again, some of the best games came out at a time where you were allowed to be risky. But nowadays, companies do not want to be risky. That's why You get prequels, sequels, remakes, remasters, and it's like, oh, yet another superhero movie, yet another Star Wars movie or game that is just bland and corporate. Yet another Assassin's Creed, because companies just don't take risks. And again, if you have no incentive, right? If you have the whole ESG lingering over you, it's like, oh, you can get up to several $1 trillion if you abide by ESG. Again, there is no risk to appease the consumer, right? All they need to do is appease the small fringe minority of people that will go clickety clack on the keyboard if they do what Stellar Blade does and add themes that go against the message. Or, well, what do people mean by the message? It means by this narrative that they want to push through their art and their product, right? Like ideas they want to push through their, like, it's like they're using Assassin's Creed as a sock puppet, and they're trying to push just the ideas of this fringe ideological group of people who, again, they do not play games, right? They just comb the internet and comb products to find the thing that they can hate on and they can boycott, because, again, their entire lives are built around this, right? And it's also a grift, as we see with Sweet Baby. So, and this is why people are shitting on Assassin's Creed, because people see these themes. Games are pretty damn expensive, right? And people are holding their money close to their bosoms, and they're looking at patterns. And one of the patterns is, one, if Sweet Baby worked on the game, there's a good chance the story's gonna be shit. The game's gonna cost more and more. They want to suck more and more money from the consumer. It's going to be yet another bland corporate product. And again, people are seeing this, right? And are shitting on it. Like, the consumer is speaking right now. They're saying, this is just going to be a shit product. Because Ubisoft, I doubt they have the talent anymore, right? Like, they've threw away all the historians and the people that were hired to try making the Assassin's Creed games as historically accurate as possible, right? Because this was the point of Assassin's Creed, right? You'd have, figures that have either died through weird means or, have very little in history that talks about them, and they wanted to stick with history, right? But kind of write somewhat of a back narrative on these historical characters. And it's kind of like what people do with, this big figure is either part of the Illuminati or the Freemasons. Something like that. And obviously they have Abstergo, which I think is kind of a dumb concept. But it's in the game, and I guess it was fine for a little bit. And this was kind of the point of Assassin's Creed, but now it's like people don't care. Like, people do not have faith that, again, the black protagonist is there because it's going to actually be an interesting story, because it's Ubisoft. Again, they threw away their historians, and they hired psychologists because they want to psychologically manipulate the people who play the product and play the game into, spending even more money, right? This is what they want to do. And they don't believe the product itself can stand on its own 2 feet. So they just give lip service to the small fringe minority of people that want to impose an ideology and be like, oh, hey, our protagonist likes to suck cock. This picture's on the screen. He's a cocksucker. Give us the standing ovation, please. And, okay, maybe 1 out of, like, the 5 people who is ideologically possessed is probably going to play. Or what am I talking about, right? The people who want this is for the journalists. We all know they don't play fucking games. But anyway, that's my rant. That's it. That's all. Peace.